Um, so, first of all, thanks for joining, everyone. This session is for shell scripting, and I'll primarily cover big intermediate topics in this because I already know that you guys have been working for a long time on this, so you might know the beginner things like what's a shell script and all. So I'll start with the intermediate stuff, and I'll start with basic creation of shell script and how we maneuver commands in the shell script. So before I start, if you guys want to ask any questions or have any doubts, just stop me and don't just let me speak because I'll speak on and on without stopping. So and also if one of you guys or more of you guys are expert in shell scripting, you can drop off. This might not be a call for you guys. So anyways, I'll start. And feel free, if you have some other meetings, you can drop off. There's no concern there. So starting with the very basics of, I'll just create a new file, use nano editor this time. By the way, we do have VI, but I'm not going to use VI because that's less intuitive here. So let me start with the basic script. Okay, so any shell script that we write starts with a shebang. Shebang is a identifier for the kernel to allow it to actually process the shell scripts on the go. So any file that you initialize as a bash script, it will start with bin/sh or bin/bash. In modern environments, we use bash. We don't use sh that much, but I'll use bash for now. And this basically tells the operating system which shell to use. Should it use bash? Should it use the normal sh that's already built in? Right now I'm going to use bash because it has a bit more advanced capabilities than sh. So the next thing that you do is, and this is part of a normal coding perspective, not just from the coding perspective, not just from the scripting perspective. Always you need to have your variables or your constants initialized in the beginning of the files. That way, if you are reading through your script or anyone else is reading through your script, they will reference your variables with the beginning initializations of your whatever you initialize. So let's say if I want to initialize the actual path of my script, what I'll do is I'll initialize with a variable name. It can be something like script path, and I can specify it to be. Now I'll just keep it static, and I'll get into more template commands in a moment. But yeah, so this is my base path, so this is something that I have statically defined here as a string here, and this is called a string by default when I have double quotes. Also note that in a bash script, in normal programming languages, you can have spaces between the equal to's and all. In bash script, it's a strict restriction that you cannot have spaces between initialization or assignment operator, as we say this, equal to, and that's something that has to be followed. If I let's say if I had this and I did a simple echo, if I had spaces here, it would give me an error. So I can run the script by just calling this. Maybe let me do bash because I'm using bash. Yeah, so do you see that it says that on line 2 there's an error because I had the equal to before that symbol. So that's something that should not be done, and you need to always take care of that. Once you start scripting on this, it will become a habit. The next thing is how you actually call a variable. So I've created a variable that has the value home/mon, which is the path that I have. Let's say I have to use this variable in some command. I want to pass this variable and the value that has been defined by the variable in the command. And let's say I just want to do a simple ls minus lh, which I think if you remember from your last call with Rohit, it just lists out all the files and in a human readable format. So if I want to do this, and if I want to see what's going on with my, what's there in my script path, I can specify. Sorry, my bad. I can specify it by there are a couple of ways to call a variable. You can call it by this method. This is a fairly newer method, or you can call it by this method by not typing in the curly braces. And I'll specify the use of curly braces in a minute. So I just do this. I save my file. I exit and I call this script, and it will call. It will show me all the files that are present in my directory. That's called an inline invocation, inline calling of a variable. You can do more than this. So let me actually show you first why we have these curly braces here, and why I actually added the curly braces for this. So let's say I want to access a specific file that that has an underscore in it, or maybe have some other file let me actually get the file name first. Let me see if I do have a file there in my root directory that has underscore in it. Okay, so I see that one of my files called this file actually has underscore in it. So so now if I want to access the file with the underscore in it, if I start typing that, if I just call this as a server, and I type underscore handler star, by default underscore will be counted as part of the name of the variable. The variable that I have is script path, and it will just call the it will assume that this is another variable, and it will print nothing. It will just print all the directories. But what I want to do is I want to call that specific file the server underscore handler underscore whatever the name was, but it won't do that. It will call the and I can do an echo rather. Let me actually do an echo. So if I do an echo for this and I remove this, this will actually show me. Yeah, so it printed out null because there is no variable with the name of script path underscore handler. So to solve this problem, what I should do is I should put this my actual variable name into curly braces, and then if I use this underscore handler, now it won't print empty string. It will print the actual name appended with the or prefixed with the variable name. That's why we use, and this is a common practice that we should follow all the time. This will become a habit once you start using this, because this is a very easier way to do things rather than having simple variable calling by without using the curly braces. So coming back to invocation on the command itself, let's say I do not know where my script is sitting. So let's say let me actually get my script name first. What happens is sometimes you want to create a script and you want to run that script and store all the output of that script in the same directory where your script actually sits in. If you want to do that, what you will need to do is first get the actual path of the script. So you don't know where the script is actually sitting, and you need to get the path of the script. What you can do is you can do a couple of different things. First of all, I'll get the script name. So if I enter this command, and again this is called template commands inside the invocation of or assignment of a variable. So these are template commands. I can also do something like this, and I can press. I can pass. Let's say if I want to pass my script name is. What it will do is, this base name command is basically there to let me to actually calculate the base name of the script that I'm calling, right? So let's say if I want to call this, and actually let me actually do the echo for it. So and I'm going to use curly braces from now on. So if I call this, do you see that it printed out my script name is port testing.sh. Now this will work even if I use relative path. So let's say if I want to use this, it will still print out the name of the file itself. If I don't use base name, and if I just use the $0. $0 in this case specifies the name of the file itself, the name of the entire full name of the file itself. So if I press $, if I run this command again, it won't print out the port testing.sh, it will print out the entire path. If I run this without specifying the path, as I did before, you can see the output becomes variable. It's not something that I want to happen. I want to always get the script name, and I can get that by using base name command, and that I can do by passing in a template command right into my assignment of my my variable. So I'll proceed to the other part of this. Now I have the base name of I have the script name of my script, and now I'll get the path. So I'll get the script path by calling another command called realPath. And then passing in the script name parameter here, the script name variable here. And now if I start to print script path, this will always generate the proper path of the script itself. So let's say if I call it with the relative path here, or if I go back one directory and call it by typing playground, then for testing. Okay, I think it didn't allow me the permission to do that. My bad. So I think I'm logged into this folder. But yeah, that's you can use realPath command to actually call that the file itself, and it will give you a proper relative path of that file. Then once you are done with that, what you can do is, and you can see the pattern that I'm following here is all my initiations of my variables are done in the beginning of the file, right? All my initiations are done where I can easily access them and where other persons can actually access them. And I can now begin to call these, the variables in whatever command that I want to run to actually get the info for. So let's say if I now want to run a command called ping google.com, and I want to save the output of this command in where I call the script from. What I can do is I can just simply type script path, and in that path I can. Okay, so that will give me the. Okay, I'll have to do one more modification here. So I can pipe here, and I can cut the last operator. Cut from the last. Do you guys know about cut command? Has Rohit reached there? Was that covered in the earlier call?
No, Manvi.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll have to do a bit more explanation there. So let me actually comment these out. By the way, you can comment things out by using hashtag in script. So if I do the hashtag for this and I run the code testing, it won't do anything because that's all commented out. So let me actually go through cut command first. Basic cut and off commands, so that you guys have an idea of what actually I'm doing. Let's say I have, let me actually use this. So let's say I have the real path, right? And I want to get the path of the path of my file. Am I doing something wrong here? Oh, okay, yeah, I see. So I'll have to do this, yeah. So let's say I have to get the path of this this script, not the script name. And what I'll do is, and let me just do $0 here just to ease things off. So what I'll do is, I'll basically in scenarios where you have to remove some operator or remove some string from a bigger string, or get a substring from a bigger string, you will use a cut command here, or you use a cut command in general. So let's say if I have to echo, let's say if I have an output that says that in your log files, you might have output sometimes that says that it first specifies you the date, then it specifies you the error or the flag of the log, and then you have your message, right, of the error. Right. So if you want to do that, and if you want to only get the date, or if you want to only get the message of the error, you can use a cut command. So what cut command will do is basically let you select the delimiter. -D is for delimiter. So delimiter basically lets the cut command know what should it cut on, what should it subtract the string on. Right now I've selected the colon. And then I can select the specific field or the specific text that I want to, or specific number of string that I want to cut off from. So let's say if I select 1, if I save this and if I run this, it will only select the date, right? And then if I want to select the flag, I can do F2, which is the field number 2, which would be the error. Yeah. And let's say if I don't want to actually select 1 or 2, I want to select both. I can do this, and it will select both of these fields. So that's the basic use of cut command. It basically helps you to filter out some unnecessary strings. You might sometimes have to kind of filter out stuff if you are creating a program that has to go through some logs and filter some stuff out from that logs, or if you have to create your own logs, but you have a command coming in that's giving you useless jargon. You can use cut command to cut off that useless jargon. One more command that I should specify here is oh, my bad. So one more command that I should specify here is the awk command. So let's say I have a file. Let's say I have I want to list all the files, and I want to list the files from. I want to list the file from here. Now, what I want to do is, even though this will give me the entire list, I only want to select the first 4 fields of the output. So let me actually save this and then show you the output itself. So let's say if I do ls minus lh, and then I don't want to select the file names or anything, which is sometimes you will need the file names, but I want to select the permissions and the username that the file is allowed to open. What I can do is I can use awk command, and that awk command will help me basically to get the information on all the files and specific fields from the output of the file of the command itself, the ls minus lh command in this case. So let me actually do that and specify the path. So home/1box, and I can print specific fields. I can print fields like $1, $2, $3. Notice that I'm using the commas here. That's a field separator in awk command. If I don't use commas, it will start to concatenate $1 and $2, which would create a whole lot of mess. So I want specific fields to be displayed by the appropriate amount of spaces. I'll use $1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just print till 4 now, and now if I just do a bash. So as you can see, it only printed the 4 fields that I had. Right, the directory, the permissions of the directory, and it's not that you can only print in sequences. I can print random fields. So what I want, let's say if I want only the first field, which is the permissions of the files, and then I want the last field. I believe it's the 10th field. If I then do this, yeah. So if I do this, it will. So there's a big issue in this awk command. As you can see, that it only printed these names, which are separated by spaces. So awk command basically by default uses spaces to separate the fields. As you can see, there's a space here and there's a space here. So there must have been a space in this name. That's a big issue that awk has currently. That we cannot, we don't have the capability to separate it by by any other means. But You do have a capability to, again, specify the delimiter. I won't specify the delimiter right now because my files don't have that much difference here, but let me actually turn the 9 field. The 9 field would have that the file names here. So this is basically awk and cut commands. I've given a very brief information. If you want, I can send out links on that. I don't want to waste my time on awk and cut commands because these are really big commands. You can literally pass an entire script in the awk command itself to actually process things on the go. I won't do that right now. Instead, what I'll do is I'll do. I basically have to go through a certain steps to actually get the information that I want. So I'll do a real world scenario. I'll go through a real world script that I can use in my regular. You can use in your regular operations. I know you guys do a lot of health checks and all, and so there are simple commands that you guys use on the regular. You use the free command. I'm assuming you use the top command as well, and then you guys use the to get the logs from different operations. You can use that. One way to do is just pile on all the things here. So just start piling on stuff, and just do cat your var log memsql, and what this will do is this will run the script, and this will display the output sequentially, but that won't be readable much, and that won't be useful for if you want to send that direct output to a client. Instead, you will have to do some, in the terms of script, we say beautification of the output, and the beautification can be done in multiple ways. One of the major things that we do on daily basis, and when I create scripts, I use functions in my bash script. So functions are a really good thing when you want to use repetitive operations. Let's say I create a function for checking if the memory is going beyond a certain point, or even just to print out memory in a memory output in a specific manner. I can create a function called print mem info. I can create this function, and this is again a batch function. So inside this function, you can put in you can create local variables. So if I specify local memory info, and then beyond this, if I create another variable called meminfo, and I specify some other command to this. Let's say if I want to specify free -m to this, and in this case, I create a meminfo, and I specify I do cat /proc /meminfo. These two will be totally different. The output from these would be totally different because one of the meminfo variable is local to the function itself, so this won't go beyond the scope of the function, and that's what we call the scope of a function. Is the things that remain inside the function will remain inside the function. If I don't use local here, I can also use normal meminfo, but then that would be useful, or that would be used beyond the function scope itself. So if I do this, if I just declare local meminfo, if I do and then if I want to call this meminfo and I echo both of those things, let's say first I have echo meminfo, and then I call the print function, the print meminfo function. What this will do is this is supposedly will print out two different outputs. Okay, print out. Okay, yeah. So I think I might have done something wrong here. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I'll need to print meminfo here as well. But if I now run this, you can see that we have two different outputs, one from the free -m command, the other one from this command. So the clear user function here is, oh, my bad. The clear user function here is that I can repeatedly use my function. I can modify my function rather than modifying my entire code. If I had this written normally here, I first of all I would have to worry about my variables. I would have to worry about what I'm sending. But if I start to use functions will help me to kind of filter out and drill down on if I want to change something, I can just go to the function and change that. I don't have to go through entire script and change that, through the entire script itself. So, and again, as part of beautifying procedure, what you can do here is in this command, if I call free -m and I use echo command here, and what I can do is, if I specify echo -e goes -e lets me do extended regex operations, so I can use /n to allow to give the output a new line, to separate output by a new line. So what I can do now is meminfo from the server at $date is /n, and then print out my meminfo. And now if I call this command, or if I call this function meminfo, save it. Let me check if I didn't do anything wrong here. Yeah, it should go now. So if I run this, this will be then fed out to my logs, right? If I can also do a redirection here. So if I do a quick redirection to this function, so let's say if I want to do something like /home/ it created a log file for me, log.txt, and in this log.txt, I clearly have the output here separated with date. If I run this again, it should supposedly give me another info, again separated by that date, and then I'll have information on that specific date at what actually happened in what was going on with my RAM in that case. So that will help you a lot if you use functions instead of using the normal, the normal way that you guys might have been doing till now. I can also call functions at any time that I want. But do note that if I start to call this function before this, it will give me an error because the function has already not been declared but has already been called. So it's going to give me an error that command not found. Make sure that you first declare a function and then call that function after you declare it. I can do more things here. So I'm going to give you a good command that most of the people don't actually know. And this is something that will help you a lot, even if you don't have, those the port check dependencies built in. So let's say I create another function called port check. And what I'll do is, in this function, I'll create another variable called port check output, and I'll pass. So this is a command that I use a lot. It's a curl command, but it uses telnet. So I can do something like 443. And now this will give me the output of the command itself, the port check of the google.com. Instead of google.com, you can have any one of your cluster nodes, and instead of port, you can have the port like 3306 or whatever DB port that you want. I'll also in a minute I'll do the same thing with the DB the memsql DB that I have running in, and I'll show you the actual working of this. So again, I can do the same thing with this. Let me just actually here. I don't have to do much of the modifications. Now I have my variable name is in this case port check output. And this is the check info from the server. Okay, yeah. So now I have this port check command that I have with me, and I also had this mem and info command that I have with me, and I can call these functions in whatever order I want. In this case, I'm going to first do memory check, and then I'll do port check. This should probably work as it's, yeah. So you saw that this actually printed out to my terminal, but the caveat here is that if I open the log.txt, supposedly it didn't print anything here, right? It should have printed here. It should not have printed to terminal. To fix this issue, because sometimes what happens is most of the commands, and I see the same pattern in most of the commands in memsql as well, they print the information right on the terminal, even though they should have redirected it to a certain file. To do that, you can do a combined redirection. So let me actually go back. And what I'll do here is I'll do this simple maneuver. Ampersand1. And so what they should do is they should print out all the information, all the verbose information directly to the main terminal and the main output, and then the output should then be redirected to the file itself. So by the way, this is another good thing that you should also learn. To empty a file, you don't have to delete the file, or you don't have to go anywhere. You can just do echo, then empty string, and then log txt. It will clear out the file itself. So now if I run this, you see that I didn't get any output, but I'm fairly certain that if I open the log.txt, it will show me the output directed inside the file itself. And once the output is here, I can do whatever I want with this. I do have a server with me. So let me try using this server, right? Let me try using this. And I think this is my master for the cluster. And yet another good use of the function. I don't have to change everything again and again. I can just go here and I can just change the function. Now, if I do a port testing here, check the logs, I see that I might have assumed my port to be, yeah. So you see that it says connected to port 3306, which means that my port 3306 is active, the service is active, it's connecting perfectly fine. I can give you another proof by actually shutting down a leaf and then trying to connect to it, and I'll show you that it won't actually connect. Let me SSH inside the. Just give me a second. Let me see which should I shut down. Yeah, let me do this. So this is running on 3310. Also, this is another cool thing to do in Bash or in Terminal. If you want to search a command, you can just press Control R. It will start a reverse search, and in that reverse search, I can type. Let's say right now I don't know the command that I used to stop a node. I can just keep typing, just type the command that I want to search for with a specific string, and then I can just keep pressing Control R. It will keep going backwards inside the history of terminal. So that's another cool thing. Pressing Control R starts a reverse search there. So let me use the ID that I just copied, and this is this node. So it's the address is this and 3310. Okay. So currently I'm stopping the node. Once it's stopped, I'll go back to my script and I'll test the port for this again. Yeah, so it's stopped now. So I exit, I go to my script. change the port to 3310. Change this to what I had earlier. Hold on. Second, let me should paste this. Yeah. So, and also not just this, I can also create another variable with the name host name and pass the parameter there, so that I can then use my host name and specify that in my logs, saying that this host was not able to connect at that specific port. So host name, I'll also declare something called, and these variable names are arbitrary, so you can put whatever you want. I'm just taking whatever comes to my mind right now. So I'll just take 3310, and I'll replace these with the variable name that I have here. So I'll just paste this and I'll paste root. And then what I can do is info from directly call the host name in my and pass the host name in my logs on port. At date, yeah. So now what this will do is this will even beautify my output even more. So now I will have information, even more information on what went wrong on what specific port or what specific server. Now, if I just run the script again, technically this should now tell me that the server with the host name, so the actual IP address of the server is this, and the port this was checked, and it says that connection refused, which means that there's something wrong with the node. Now I'll just go back to and I'll just go back to the master node, and I'll start that node. What was the start command? Yeah. So what I'll now do is I'll just start the same node that I earlier stopped. I believe this was the and so I'm just doing start. I'm not going to change anything in the script, and I'll just come back once this node is started. I'll come back to my my server, and I'll run the script again. So yeah, it's done. And now if I do the same thing again, I do the catalog, you can see that earlier it was saying connection refused. Now it says that it connected successfully. You can also filter out these jargon here. These are just the throughput that it faced when it was actually checking the server. But you can filter that out easily using awk and using cut commands. So this is something that will help you a lot when you when you do your debugging from your side. This is and again, as I specified before, you can add more and more functions to your script and keep on adding more and more checks that you want. If you want to do let's say if you want to open the logs of the files, and you want to do a curl check the logs of the file, or get the logs of the file from a remote server, you can do that as well. And you can do that by using SSH. How you use SSH in scripts is there are two ways to use SSH. One is to allocate a pseudo terminal. So pseudo terminal is basically telling the bash script that you automatically create a terminal for yourself, and you run the commands and you exit the terminal. Sometimes pseudo terminal is not a good idea, because most of the servers don't allow pseudo terminal. When they do security hardening, they disallow pseudo terminals. So what the other way to do SSH is through the scripts specifically is, and again, let me actually create a function here. So get remote info, and again I'll specify some local. Let me actually use this server. As you can see, I can just keep using the same variable names. I don't have to. I can be consistent in a way that I don't have to keep on, changing my variable names whenever I have to do a little bit of modification. That's something that is valuable from, from the function perspective. So, yeah, now I have this. Actually, let me use master instead of leaf. That's going to be a bit more. My bad. So let me use master instead of leaf. Because master is more better in information. Yeah. So now, what I'll do is I'll create a variable called get info. I can also do a local with this. Let me actually do local with this. Yeah. So I have this variable. Inside this, I'll pass the SSH command. So I have this the SSH. Then I'll pass -t, which tells the SSH that you should not create a terminal, rather use the SSH stream directly and get the information. And also, I'll also do -q to suppress any banner information that I might get. Sometimes when you do SSH, they give out the information like this is a restricted environment, you should be careful, so and so. We don't want to have that information here. Also, I can specify the key file, or if I want to use the password, I can use the password. In this case, I have a key file here, so I'll specify the key file path. Let me actually get the key file path. So this is my the file name. So this is a really good thing that I have here, and in this I can pass till I reach the end of the file. I can keep on passing commands. I can let's say if I want to list out the directories, and these are the very basic commands. Since I don't know the log part of this, where the logs are actually sitting, I'm not going to go through the logs, but you can also you can do the cat and specify the log path, and this path will be on your master server. So you can directly specify the path and get the logs from there. If you guys know where the standard logs sit, you can let me know the path and I can use that path. And I'm pretty sure this will fetch me the logs. Can one of you guys tell me where the logs for memsql sit? This is the master server, by the way.
Manmeet, where live memsql?
memsql.
Inside that trace log. File name is memsql.log.
memsql.log. Okay, and so let me do tail instead of cat, because that will print out a whole lot more than I want. Yeah, so I think let's only get the logs for now, and then we'll do echo -c. And
you would be needing the node hash also, right?
Node and master node name, both the things we need. Where live memsql nodes.
okay, let me actually get that as well.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with that, so let me get that. Log, was it memsql?
Where lib.
Lib, my bad.
Yeah.
Where live memsql /nodes.
/master.
You
Manmeet,
have the
just
hash
do
tab.
tab.
You have to go
Just
inside the
tab.
hash tab.
Better to do.
Yeah.
So inside the trace logs, okay, yeah.
Yeah, trace logs.
Okay, here it is. MySQL log. You guys, in generally, you guys know about where the logs are sitting, right? When you do the health checks and all, right? I mean, these. I'm assuming the folder name doesn't
Yeah,
change
man.
that often.
Yes,
So
yes.
you can hard code that in your script. That's not a problem, and then you can just run that script and get the information from there. So yeah, let's replace this with the. I can also again instead of hard coding this path here, I can also specify another local variable called path, and I can pass that value right here. That will also work perfectly fine. Since I already have the path and I'm just doing a quick demo, I'm not going to do that. But you can do that in the same way. Okay, hold on. Let me actually do that first. So log path should be and now while you are in SSH and while you are passing the commands there, you have to always use the curly braces around your variable name. So I cannot, it won't give me anything if I don't use the curly braces. That's a restriction in when I use SSH pass the variables to SSH. So now I have this output and I'll just print out the logs from what's name this and on port. Let's do SSH port here because I have SSH port here. I date r/n and then I just print out it. Yeah. So this should give me the output that I'm desiring. This should give me the information that I want, and it should print out the last 200 lines of that log. Now it might fail if my user, the CentOS user doesn't have the permission. But let's see. Oh, I actually have to call this function. I forgot to call the function. Get remote info. I'll just do a quick check, and you guys should also do a quick check when you're doing SSH, because SSH is something that if they're not done properly would destroy your. If you do RM or something on your through the SSH, you might destroy that the entire folders if you don't do those things properly. So I'll just do a quick check. I think everything is on point. Let me do results to proper path now, and yeah, I think we are good to go. Yeah, we should be okay now. Oh, yeah, so I see that I did something wrong here. This is something that happens, and this is very, very, very live and in front of you that this happens a lot, that sometimes the spaces are wrong or something gets missing or something. That happens a lot, as you can see this happening right now to me, that it's not printing me the proper output. Let me actually see what the 28th line is. No, 28th, yeah. So I think this is a problem with the spacing and all. Oh God, this is. Let me actually not use EOF right now. This is going to mess up a whole lot of things. Let me pass it in the command line itself. Oops. Okay. I passed the wrong path. Oh, it's in assets. Okay. My bad, guys. I passed the wrong key file path. Let me correct that really quickly, and then we should good to go. We should be good to go. Okay, and also let me redirect it to the logs. Okay. Okay, so it's not printing any logs. That's very weird. Yeah, so you can see that this happens sometimes where we don't actually get the information right away. We have to do some working around, some debugging around the commands themselves, as I am doing right now, although it should be working straightforward. I don't know why this is not. Okay, now it's just stuck. Let's see what's going on here. By the way, there's another command called PEE, which allows you to both print to a file and print to a terminal. You can use that. Hold on, let me actually save this and yeah. So you can read through the manual of T. T basically allows you to write to both standard output as well as to a file. T is a really good command to use, and then once you get the hang of it, you can view the debugging information and output the command directly to a file or something. Because I'm using Echo, I'm not going to do that right now. But yeah, you can do that. Okay, seems like my SSH is giving me trouble here. By the way, you guys know about verbosing SSH, right? Did Rohit cover that part? Anyone?
No, Manmeet, I don't.
Okay, no issues. So you can do a verbose on SSH. Right now, I'm facing an issue with my SSH, and if I want to just know what's going on there, what I can do is I can just use -v. -v will give me very short amount of verbose. Verbose basically helps me to identify what's going on behind the scenes when I'm connecting to SSH. This is going to be helpful if your SSH connection is taking way too much time, or if the command that you might be passing to your SSH is taking way too much time. That's something that might the verbose will help you to debug that very easily. Right now I just typed one. Okay, I'm in the server. So right now I just typed 1v. I can type more than 1v. I can type v 3 times. If I type v 3 times, it will give me more and more information the more v's I type. Note that you cannot go beyond 3, but as you can see that it's more information than the last time that I got. This is the information that I got last time, and this is the information that I got currently. So as you can see, more and more verbose gives you more and more debugging information. This is really helpful when you have a server that's going to respond very poorly, or that's taking a lot more time, or there's a problem with the server, you're not able to connect to your server. This will help you in logging that out. So in terms of talking about server, I would like to cover more commands regarding the services. One of the important command is the systemctl. I don't know if you guys know about this, but systemctl is a really good command, especially in CentOS and Red Hat environment. CTL is basically service manager. Systemctl commands help you to go through your services, see what's going on with your services, track down a specific service. So let's say I don't have any idea what's going on in my server, what my service actually looks like, or how I actually created the service. I can do list So I can do something like list units. This will give me a list of all the services that I have. I can just keep scrolling, and I can get to the services that I want to view. I'm going to pick a service at random, and I'm going to start viewing that. Does memSQL create a service, guys? This has memSQL admin in it. So does it create a service? Let me actually use SSHD. Yeah. So let me go through SSHD. So yeah, you can use list units to actually view all the services. You can also, if you want to view the system services as well, you can do all, and this will give you more and more services that you don't necessarily view when you do this. Yeah, so here it is, the memSQL service. Yeah, so I'll use this, and I'll see what's going on with my service right now. So basic thing to do is systemctl status memSQL.service. I can just also type memSQL. No need to type service. Unfortunately, it says not loaded. Okay, let me try a service that's actually working. So right now I see that my SSH service is active and running. I can see that by using status command. If I want to use this in my script, so going back to this the SSH, if I want to view that if my service is running remotely, and I'll again go to the script again, and I'll just show you that. Let me remove this. This is not working out. So get service info. What I can do is there's a very simple tool in Bash with regards to systemctl. It's called local is active equals to $, not type for the life in me. I think it was hold on, yeah, it was this active SSHD service, and then I can just spread out the info here. Okay, so yeah, let me cover the if and the conditions as well. So now I want to know if my service was active or not. If I output this, it won't give me anything, right? It won't give me any output because this command only outputs an exit code. So every script and every command in the entire Linux has an exit code. So let's say if I do a simple ls minus l, and if I type $question mark, it gives me the exit code of the last command that was run. Let me try to do a grep for a file that doesn't actually exist here. So there's no file name top in this. If I now do an echo $question mark, the exit code of the grep command was 1, which means that there's so 0 exit code means that everything is working fine. 0 means something positive happened in Linux. 1 means something negative happened in Linux. When you talk about exit codes, and exit codes are really important when you have to kind of gather information from inside a script and you want to work on that information. In this case, what I'll do is I'll type a command. I'll do this $question mark, and now I'll use if condition to actually specify if the is active return 0 or 1. So $is active. If $is active was 0, that means my service was active, which means that everything is working fine. If it wasn't, which would be the else case, then that means that there was a problem with the service. So I can easily beautify my logs by this if command, and I already know that if it's 0, it means that everything is fine. If it's 1, then there's something wrong with the service itself. Right now, the service name that I'm using is SSHD. So I'll do something like SSH service is running fine. Check on dollar date. And again, I can redirect this to my logs. So let me redirect to logs, and then the else case would be that SSH service is down. Inactive. Again, check on dollar date. Why I'm doing dollar date is that you should always have date as an identifier for your logs, so that you can track back to a specific date when you are going through your logs, even if your logs have been captured by your script. All good softwares and all good scripts are logged, and every log that is being logged has a specific date in them to identify when the command actually ran. Let me now call this function. And what I'll do is, again, do a quick check. Everything is okay. I think it is. Yeah, so if I run this now, okay, there's a problem with my condition now. Sometimes they get a little bit what is happening here. Stop these. Oh, I see where I did wrong. Okay. Yeah, so it was okay. So now if I run this, and if I do catalog, it says that service is running fine. Let me clear the logs again. This doesn't print out any jargon. Yeah, so it says that service is running fine. You can do the same thing for your memSQL service as well. That will also work perfectly fine in that case. Some other commands that are useful here is, and these commands will require sudo access, but these are useful to let's say if you want to do a system CTL restart SSH, you can do that. It will do a restart. Also, so most of the applications don't actually log their service status to a specific file. They log it to something called journal D. You can get the logs, so let's say if I do system CTL status SSHD, it shows me that something is going on here, but I don't know what happened before February 19th. And I don't know what's happening with my service before that, or what's happening right now. I can use journal CTL, and I can read the logs for a specific service by using these symbols, -e and -u. -u specifies the unit. In this case, unit is SSHD. Now, if I do that, I can go back to the last journal entry, and I can see that, okay, these are the things that happened to my server. And I can also scroll up and keep scrolling up, and I see that after the logs were rotated after February 11th, and I can you view it from there. Let's say if your service or your application is breaking a lot, and you want to view the logs in real time, what you can do is you can use -f with it. And so let me create another terminal. And I'll try to do a restart of the service, and you'll see that something gets updated here. So just give me a second. Let me open another terminal, and I'll do the same thing. I'll do a restart there. Just a second. Yeah, so do you see that it says that authentication refused bad ownership? I'm trying to log into my, through the other terminal, I'm trying to log into the server. Since I'm using key, the key is not allowed. It says that bad authentication. Now I just entered the password and it says that accepted password. And I'll do a restart of the service. So sudo systemctl restart SSHD. You see that it just restarted and it showed me in real time what was happening with my service. So that's something that's really useful. If you type -ef, you will see this in real time. If you just type -e, then you'll see the last logs till the command. So that's a really cool tool to have in your tool belt. So guys, I've been talking for way too long. Do you guys have any questions till now about anything? And you want to cover anything else regarding this, you can let me know. Anyone? Hello?
No, Manmeet, so far it's good. Thanks for your session. So from my side, no issue.
Anyone else have any doubts? The more doubts you ask me, the more the knowledge it will build for you, and the more better it will be for you guys. So I think if you have doubts, just let me know. And no question is stupid. So I'll answer any question that you throw towards me. So please ask as many questions as you can. Amit, Shweta, so far anything?
Yeah, man, it's fine from my side. Yeah.
So do you have any specific requests that you want me to cover? I'll cover that as well, because I didn't receive any information on, beforehand about what you guys wanted to discuss.
Yeah, Manmeet, actually, we wanted regarding the OS level debugging.
Okay.
Especially, regarding if there is a process or a thread which is occupying more spaces or memory, which we can debug from our side as much as possible.
I see. Okay, yeah, sure, we can do that as well. So for this, let me actually log into the server that is running memsql question. Okay. And again, if you want, you can ask me as many questions as I want going forward with this, as you want, going forward with this. So you specify that you want to know about processes, right? A really cool command to view processes is ps. Basically, it is process management and process viewing. The command is used for process management and process viewing. And there's like 10,000 different things that you have here, but I'll go through the most common things that we have. So you mentioned that you want to view the actual threads. So if you type this ps-elf, you can see that it is listing the processes thread by thread. So it's the other counterpart of this is the aux, but aux won't list out thread by thread. If you type ps-elf, it will just list out thread by thread. Now, you mentioned that you want to know, what process is taking how much, the runtime of the process, and you want to know, the process ID of the process, the process ID of the thread itself. You can use that. You can use this column. This is actually listing out the process ID. The first column. I scroll up a bit. It should show me the header of the column. Yeah. So you see the PID, right? This is the PID of every single thread inside every single every process that's a multi-threaded process. It will show you that. It also showed me the actual PID of the command itself, the PACLF command, because that also comes under. You can also see which user ran that thread. If you have multiple users and your multiple users are using different operations, you can view that as you have the information regarding the user information as well. If I did this with sudo, I would probably get more information. So also another cool tidbit is, if you don't want, let's say if you have a really big command, let's say I have like 10 different greps here, I don't want to type the entire thing again. all I can do is I can just type sudo, then double exclamation mark, and that will allow me to run the same command that I just typed before, but with sudo. So you can use that. You can use that to view your threads. Right now, I see that PID of all these threads are kind of similar. So I'm assuming that they are one single threads, but instantiated on different occasions. But you see that the PIDs are also listed out. You can also use these PIDs to filter. Let's say if I want to do a grep for only those processes that were run by memsql. I can do something like grep memsql, and it will show me the processes that were run in the memsql or that consist of the word memsql. I think I can also figure out. I can use awk command as well, so that I don't have to go through all the information. One. Okay, I see. Can you do that? So I don't think that's going to allow me to do that. But the other cool command that you can use, because if you're using sockets and if you're using communication or connections, you can use netstart command to actually view this. Now, what I wanted to show you was I don't know if this is possible on this specific instance of CentOS, but you can track the sockets that you're running. I think sockstart is the command that I should be using here. Okay, it doesn't have sockstart. So some CentOS instantiations don't have sockstart. In this case, I think I have netstart, so I'll use netstart to lpn, and I'll use that with sudo. And I have the process IDs. What I can do is I can start my debugging by netstart. I can go and look for the DB operating here. In this case, this is the process ID of the DB, with the memsql cluster, and then I can do grep with that ID, and I'll see all the threads that I'm getting using that ID. I know that there is more to it, but this is a very good start. Since I did say that this is a very intermediate session, I'm not going to cover it any more deeper into this. But does that answer your question, Amit? Does that help a bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, you can also do a top, and you can. I don't use top that much. I'm assuming that there's an option here to allow you to search for for a specific ID, and you can get the CPU usage by that ID. Although I do see that on top, I see the PID for that, and I see that's the process using this 16% of CPU and 15% of RAM. So that's also helpful. Once you get the process ID, you can kind of go through there. But to get that process ID, you will have to use PS command. There's PSAUX that will only list out the master processes and the one singular processes. And if you want to view the threads, you can use -elf to view the threads. So any other queries, any other requests that you guys want me to cover, I'll cover that. Guys, anything?
Nothing from my side, Manmeet.
Okay. So I think if I've covered everything, then I think we can end the session here. If you guys have any questions, you can let me know. If you want, I can send you sample scripts that you can go through, and you can kind of look at that. And the scripts that I've written and the scripts that are being used at Monbus, you can go through those scripts as well, and that will help you a lot. I can also, what I'll do is, I think that's going to be really helpful to you guys. I'll write a sample script for the thing that I specified here today about the beautifying of logs and getting the logs and running consecutive commands and getting information on those commands and compiling that into one single log file. If you want, I can do that. Would that be okay with you? From there, you can pick up and kind of learn through on your own. You'll have a sample.
Yes, Manmit. Yeah.
Okay. So if there are no more questions, I think we can end the session here.